Rita had just come back from the market in her big jeep. She was wearing gold jewelry and swinging her handbag as if the whole street belonged to her. From far, she saw her daughter sitting under the mango tree with Amoka. The little girl was smiling, reading loudly from Amoka's torn book. Rita's face changed at once. She marched there like thunder. "Amoka," she shouted, her voice sharp. "What nonsense is this? Who gave you permission to teach my daughter?" Amoka stood up quickly, holding her book tight to her chest. "Madam, I was only..." "Pure pure. Pure pure." Rita slapped her across the face. "Shut up. Do you know who I am? I am Rita Billionaire. My daughter cannot sit on bare ground with a poor rat like you. Look at you. Dirty slippers, torn dress. And you want to spoil my child with your village teaching." The little girl tried to speak. "Mommy, please," she was only. "Keep quiet." Rita snapped at her daughter. She turned back to Amoka. "If I ever see you near my daughter again, I will deal with you. You think we are mates? You think my child will reduce herself to your level? Idiot." She dragged her daughter away, leaving Amoka standing there with tears in her eyes, humiliated in front of the neighbors who had gathered to watch. In Lagos City, there lived a very rich woman called Rita. People called her Madam Rita, the billionaire. She was one of the richest women around. Rita had a big house with tall gates painted white. The walls shone as if they were washed every day. In her compound, there were many fine cars, a black Jeep, a red sports car, and even a golden car that looked like it came from a movie. Inside the house, the floors were made of shiny tiles. The chairs were soft like clouds. On the walls, there were big pictures of Rita smiling and wearing her expensive clothes. Rita had money, but she also had a problem. She was too proud. She liked to show off and talk about her money all the time. When she went to the market, she would shout, "Trader, show me the most expensive bag you have. I don't buy cheap things." When she entered a shop, she would say, "Please don't waste my time. I only buy things that come from London or America. Nigerian things are too common for me." The traders would bow and bring out their best goods. Some of them smiled on the outside, but in their hearts, they whispered, "This woman is too proud. Money has entered her head." Rita also liked to go to parties with her rich friends. She would wear long gowns that shone like diamonds. She would sit in the middle of the hall, crossing her legs, making sure everyone noticed her. At one party, she waved her hand and said loudly, "I just came back from Dubai yesterday. I went shopping for my daughter's clothes. I don't allow her to wear anything from Nigeria. Only designers from London and Paris can touch her skin." Her friends clapped and said, "Wow, Madam Rita, you are truly blessed." But some of them rolled their eyes secretly. They were tired of her bragging. Even in her own street, Rita behaved like a queen. When a neighbor greeted her, she would just wave her hand without stopping. "Yes, yes. I have no time." She never visited anyone. She never helped the poor children who played barefoot by the roadside. She didn't even like when they walked close to her gate. But in the middle of all this show and pride, Rita had a little daughter. The girl was only 8 years old. She was different from her mother. She didn't like noise or bragging. She was gentle and soft, with bright eyes that always looked curious. The little girl had plenty of toys, a big bedroom, and the best clothes. But she had no friends. Her mother was always too busy. One week Rita was in Abuja for business. The next week she was flying to London to shop. If she was at home, she was on the phone, painting her face, or preparing for another party. She hardly had time to sit with her daughter. The child often sat by her window, looking outside. She watched the street children laugh, run, and play with sand. Sometimes she held her doll tightly and whispered, "I wish I had someone to play with. I wish I had a friend." Even though she lived in a mansion, the little girl felt very lonely. Not very far from Rita's big mansion, in the same neighborhood, there lived a poor girl called Amoka. Amoka's life was the opposite of Rita's. She did not live in a fine house. She lived in a small one-room house with her mother and two younger brothers. The roof of the house leaked whenever it rained, and the walls had cracks. Her family did not have much money. Many times, Amoka wore the same faded dress for days. Her slippers were old and broken, but she still walked proudly in them. Even though she was poor, Amoka had something special. She loved to learn and she loved to teach. She was clever with books, and she enjoyed sharing what she knew with other children. Almost every evening, Amoka would sit under the big mango tree by the roadside. She would gather the smaller children in the neighborhood and teach them letters, numbers, songs, and even Bible stories. She did not have many books, only one old exercise book and a tiny chalkboard someone had given her. But she used them with love. "Repeat after me," Amoka would say with a smile. A, B, C. The little children would shout happily, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They would laugh. Even though the ground was rough and the sun was hot, the children loved learning with Amoka. She never shouted at them. She never called them stupid. She always encouraged them, clapping her hands when they tried. The people in the street liked her too. Some mothers would say, "This Amoka is such a good girl. She is poor, but she has a good heart." Now, one day, as Rita's little daughter was peeping from the mansion window, she saw Amoka teaching the children under the mango tree. She watched as the children clapped and laughed while Amoka taught them how to read. Her eyes grew wide. She whispered to herself, "I want to learn like that. I want to sit under the tree too." The next day, when her mother was not around, Rita's daughter quietly left the big gate and walked towards the mango tree. She went close and sat down on the sand beside the other children. Amoka looked at her with surprise. The girl's dress was neat and fine, different from the others. But Amoka smiled and said gently, "You are welcome. Sit down. We are learning letters today." Rita's daughter sat happily. For the first time, she felt free. She laughed when the children laughed. She repeated the letters. She even shared her own biscuits with them. From that day, she started going to the tree whenever she had the chance. Amoka became her friend, her teacher, and her sister. She felt at home under the tree in a way she never felt inside her mother's big mansion. One hot afternoon, Madam Rita came back from the market. Her big black jeep entered the street, the horn blowing loudly as usual. The neighbors quickly shifted to the side of the road. Some waved their hands. "Welcome, madam," they shouted. Rita raised her chin high, wearing her dark sunglasses. She did not even smile. She just waved her hand as if she was a queen greeting her servants. She liked when people stopped and stared at her cars. That day, she had bought new jewelry and a shiny handbag. As she stepped out of the jeep, her driver carried all her shopping bags behind her. Rita's high heels clicked on the ground as she walked into her compound. But as she was about to enter the house, she looked towards the mango tree by the roadside. What she saw made her freeze. There, under the tree, sat her daughter. She was laughing and clapping her hands. Beside her was a poor girl in a faded dress, Amoka. The girl was holding a small book and teaching. Rita's eyes grew wide. Her chest rose and fell quickly. What nonsense is this? My daughter, a billionaire's